You all know on our campus, gentlemen, we have St. Cyril Methodius Seminary, St. Mary's Prep, and the Polish Mission. And from your perspective, the Polish Mission is the one you probably hear least about, but it's one that does some of the most good on our campus. The Polish Mission is committed to preserving, maintaining, and promoting Polish heritage, culture, and language. And in a very brief period of time, they've done such great work that the government of Poland has bestowed upon our Polish mission, the Polish mission of Yorkshire Lake Schools, the highest honor that they can give in terms of culture. So we were blessed yesterday to be at a dinner where the ambassador officially bestowed that award on the Polish mission, and also a special award on Marcin Chumiecki, the director of the Polish mission, for all the work that he has done to preserve Polish heritage, culture, and language, not only here but around the world. That is why he's here. We are grateful that he has spent some time with us this morning. And a historical fact, this is the first time that a Polish ambassador to the United States has been on the campus of Orchard Lake St. Mary's since 1938. So gentlemen, as you sit here this morning, you are once again a part of history. So I want to welcome Ambassador Schneff to the podium. I want to thank you for his presence this morning.
Good morning, friends. I have to make it clear that it was not me who visited this place in 1938. Okay? It's another ambassador. My career is pretty long, but not that long. And I've been posted as ambassador just 3 times before I arrived to Washington, D.C. I served as ambassador to Uruguay and Paraguay, Central American countries, finally Spain, Madrid, the current destination, which is ambassador to the United States, which is probably, some may say very proudly, the most distinguished in our diplomatic service due to the very special relations that we have with the United States, with America, and American people. Before I will tell you a couple of words, I won't be really long. I will tell you that my people at the embassy, they prepared me a proper formal speech. It would take me probably an hour. When I learned it and I read it during my flight to Detroit, I discovered it was very boring. So I will save your time and just keep you awake in the morning. I will tell you just a couple of words from my heart, just straight away. First of all, I'm impressed being here. Thank you very much for inviting me. It's a privilege. This is one of the most distinguished educational institution, not only here in the United States, but probably in the world, with a very, very special spiritual mission. I've been listening to the words of Father during the Mass, and I must say that it made me think about my youth and when I was in your place more or less and attending my classes, and it was so hard to believe that somebody would take care of my problems. But it was. This is a very specific way of thinking of all young people. And I was the same as you are, defiant and looking for new things and with a lot of energy. But then I discovered that people surrounding me, that sometimes were tough on me, including my parents, they all just wanted me to be better, to be correct, to understand other people, to be open to other beliefs, to be tolerant, and generally a good person. Sometimes I think I understood it a little bit late. So the youth is always challenging with all the new things that are coming. And we're in particular a difficult situation because the world is changing much faster than it was when I was 15. The changes are coming almost every day through internet, new advanced technologies. We made friends with people that we even don't see, or we see them on the screen. This is something unbelievable for the previous generations. But this is the world that you are living in, and in this very special place. And I must tell you that I'm so proud that the Polish mission is doing such a great job here, and I was happy to bring this award to the Polish mission yesterday night. The presence, and let me say be a little bit historian, this is my real profession. Before I became a diplomat, one day perhaps I would tell you the story how it happened. I was a university professor teaching Latin American history at Warsaw University. It's a completely different life. And I studied, of course, among other things, the Polish presence in the world. And probably few of you know that the first Polish settlement in the United States, in America, happened in the mid-19th century. This was a small group led by a priest, by a father from Lower Silesia, from south of Poland, who were told that there's a promised land and they will live a much better life than they had in Poland that was not existing at that time. In the 19th century, Poland was wiped out from the world's map, was occupied by foreign forces, and it lasted 123 years. So many people moved away, moved to other places, many of them to the United States. This first group settled in a place which is not far from San Antonio, Texas. You can imagine the situation. Those people who are used to the climate as you live here in Detroit, and all of a sudden they found temperatures going hundreds degrees high and a completely different natural environment. So, but they were tough people. They wanted to work, and they settled and founded a small colony which is still called Panna Maria. It still exists. If anybody of you would go to Texas, and you can find it on the map, it's a place where people still speak Polish. This is the 6th generation. People, but the culture, the language is still preserved. Then new waves of Polish people were coming to the United States for many reasons. Some of them because they were persecuted by the foreign forces. Poland partly was occupied by the Russians, partly by Prussians from Germany, and partly by Austria. So they moved to other countries, France, United Kingdom, but mostly to the United States. Why? Because the United States was at that time, in beginning of 20th century, probably the most democratic. The country were offering the immigrants the best chances to construct their life from the scratch and be themselves, to preserve the culture, not being persecuted for this or that religion, because they could continue their habits, build their families, and prosperity, of course. Many people moved to the US for economic reasons as well. A big wave came to the US at the beginning of 20th century, just before the World War I. And from that time, this presence of a very simple people who work here in this northern part of the US, the Polish presence is particularly visible. So we proudly can say today that Polish people are one of those who built this country. Hundreds of thousands of people working in Chicago, butcheries, car industry from the very beginning, or brewing good beer, or many other miners in Pennsylvania who came from Poland, and many other professions. But the very important moment for Polish people was 1916. The war is still on, but President Woodrow Wilson pronounced his famous declaration about the order of a new world after the war is ended. And one of the points he mentioned was that Poland must regain its independence. And Polish people still remember that. This was the US President Woodrow Wilson who mentioned Poland must again appear on the world's map because these people deserve it. After that, the future president, the US people that just organized the help to those who were just constructing their life in a very poor and difficult Poland. And this friendship, which was built up in a very difficult moment, lasted. And during the times of communism in Poland, This was the United States and American people that supported Solidarity, trade union, the first free trade union in our Central and Eastern Europe. They supported Lech Wałęsa, who was our leader. They supported just common people to get back the freedom and human rights. And we were successful in that. In 1989, Poland changed from one day to another to a parliamentary republic with free elections, freedom of speech, freedom of gathering, and human rights respected. The beginning was very difficult. You can imagine the country which was overwhelmingly controlled by the state, no private, practically business, no private entrepreneurship, just state-owned big companies. It turned to an old but very well-proven model, which is the free market economy. You cannot imagine how difficult it was at the beginning. People who've been living all their life under completely different circumstances, with all kinds of things prohibited, no entrepreneurial spirit, they found themselves in a situation where they could take their own decision and decide about their life. It's not easy. It's not easy for a man, a human being, that is not used to use the freedom. Freedom is a great value. But also, another side of freedom is to know how to use it. Not against somebody, but to improve the world, to give a chance to everybody to act as he thinks, but not at the cost of other people. People have to learn how to use freedom, how to change the profession, how to change the place they live, how to vote in the free elections, how to get engaged freely in a political activity, to be a part of this or that, political movement. Everything was new. After more than half a century of restricted freedom. Today, Poland is a country of a success story. But to a great extent, this is thanks to the understanding and support of other countries and other people. And the American people on the first place at that list. I'm very proud to say here to you, young people, that Polish-American relation has never been that good as they are now. They are much more understanding of the situation that our part of the world lives. And this is not an easy situation. You learn it, you read the newspapers probably, you watch the news, and you can learn that we have a very complex situation in Syria, Iraq, ISIL, terrorism, Russian aggression, which is so close to our border. All these items, all this situation make people feel uncertain and looking for the support and help of others. And I can say proudly that yes, we get it. We get it. There's much more interest of the US politicians, senators, representatives, administration, in what's going on there near our border. We hear the assurance, you are not alone. A year ago, in June, President Barack Obama visited Warsaw. And in Poland, everybody remembers his words. And he said, Poland will never be alone again. Will never be alone again. It's good to be in a group of friends. Like you. Probably you enjoy being here, studying, also because you have friends. You exchange your ideas, but you are sure that if something happens, your friend will give you a hand. Keep it like that. That's one of the most important values in your life. Keep your friendship high. compassion, understanding of other people. These are the great values. That will be all from me, just a short message. I appreciate again being invited here, feeling like I return to the times that I have already forgotten. I see you as dynamic young people who have a great future. Take it, grab it, go for that. Study. This is only a small part of life you've been living. The rest is remaining. It's a great, beautiful things that you will do in your life. Let's win this game in football, okay? Thank you.